All right, good evening, everyone. I hope you had a great day and a good Easter weekend. My name is LP Mainville. I'm the Athlete Development Director for the OVA, and I will be doing this presentation tonight with a couple of my co-workers. We have Lauren Bredner on the call. Lauren is our Athlete Development Lead, and Angie Shen, who is our Senior Beach Development Coach. Hello, Lauren, Angie. Thanks for being here tonight. And thanks for all of you for being here. We have a packed room today, so that's awesome. We're happy to have all of you here to discuss our athlete development program for the summer of 2021. So this is an update, obviously from the last time that we spoke. We had a town hall a couple of months ago where we shared a little bit of the plans that we had at the time. But as it has been the trend in the past year, plans change. And so they have changed, and we're here tonight to kind of explain how and what our current plans for the summer are at this point. So before we get into the details, I just want to kind of give a little bit of background for those who perhaps remember the last time that we talked in the last plan that we had. So what we had in mind earlier in the winter was to try to deliver as many in-person training opportunities for as many people as possible across the province. And we really liked that idea, but as the pandemic did not really get any better, we realized that our ability to book facilities and our ability to then get coaches to commit to a program for which they don't know the dates, they don't know the locations, it was really, really difficult, and we didn't believe we could actually deliver any type of quality programming like this. So we had to shift our perspective a little bit and decided to go back to something we know we can do well, which is running some training camps in some very, very safe, in a very safe environment this year, obviously with everything that's going on. And to plan for that. So the plans that you're gonna hear about tonight are the plans that we have right now. We know that we can deliver really, really good programs. Obviously, if things go well, I think I don't have to mention that. Obviously, everything that we say tonight is dependent on the situation, the public health situation evolving in a good way. And obviously, if we're not capable of delivering these programs for reasons that are outside of our control, well, then there will be adaptations. And I think we've proven in the past year that we're able to adapt really well to situations. So that's what we're going to keep doing. All right. There will be an opportunity, obviously, for you to ask your questions. Hopefully, we answer most of them during the presentation. You can ask your questions in the chat. We'll be monitoring that, keeping track of them. We'll get to them at the very end, and we'll make sure that you leave tonight with all your answers. Actually, as many of your questions answered, because I will say, because again of the uncertainty of what the summer may actually look like in terms of the restrictions and everything. There may be some questions we don't have answers to, but we think we'll have a lot of answers. So let's get going with the actual plans, and let's get into the thick of it. So Lauren, if you can take us through that, that'd be awesome.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. I hope everyone can see my screen here. Thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. Thanks, LP. So as LP mentioned, I'll be just running through this summer's indoor programs. So this website that you see here is through our Athlete Insights program. For those of you that have already registered for this program or were on our town hall last week, athletes can register for that program, and it was officially launched today. So all of the content, or I should say most of the content, is up on there now. And this page with the athlete selection and application process is now available for all athletes who are registered in the program. So they'll have access to this page, and I'll just run through it on my end. So First off, I'm really excited about this summer and the training opportunities that we have for athletes within the OVA this year. It's been a long winter, so I'm really excited for the opportunity and possibility of training and back on the court again. So as you're all aware, COVID really restricts our ability to run a quote unquote normal Team Ontario summer, where we include multiple programs with large groups of athletes and coaches, usually in one or two locations around the province. So this summer, we're actually planning on running training bubbles for OVA athletes to help ensure that the training environment, coaches, and athletes are as safe as possible. So on this website here, all the information that we have right now is down here in terms of the bubble training environments. So I'll just stay on this page with the basic information when I give a little bit more of a in detail breakdown of the information that we do have. So selected athletes and coaches will enter their training bubble and not leave for the full duration of the training camp. Everyone will follow strict COVID-19 protocols set out by the government, health units, and the OVA to allow for a fun but safe space for everyone involved. And as you can see here, there'll be a total of 3 training bubbles that I will dive into now. So we'll work backwards here. We'll start on the right side of the screen, which is our Canada Summer Games training group bubble. So as some of you may be aware, the Canada Summer Games is the largest multi-sport games in Canada. And it was actually supposed to be this summer in August. However, due to COVID, it's been pushed to next August in 2022. So with that being said, the Canada Summer Games training group is actually designed in a 2-year cycle. So we're preparing for the games now, which are actually going to be held next August. And we're doing that so we can build a strong team culture and provide the most training opportunities available to this group of athletes and coaches. So with this in mind, 24 17/18U athletes per gender will be selected to train this summer from July 4th to 18th at Nipissing University. And the majority of the Canada Games roster next summer is expected to be selected from this group of athletes this summer. So athletes who are selected to this summer's program must be willing and available to commit to both years of the Canada Summer Games group. So that's this summer's program and then next summer's program if they're selected to participate. So I'll go into the application process later on in the presentation, but we're asking that athletes only select this program if they're actually able to commit to both years of the program. So now, next summer, most of the 17 and 18U athletes of this year will be heading into their first or second year of post-secondary school. And if athletes plan on playing volleyball, or if they have already signed or committed to a post-secondary school, we believe it's important for those athletes to inform their future coach or their current coach if they're in their second year about their intention to participate in the Canada Summer Games training group, as they'll kind of be overseeing your overall volleyball development at that point. So we ask that athletes interested in this bubble and the Canada Summer Games bubble program next year, seek written confirmation in the form of a letter or an email from their post-secondary coach stating that they are aware and supportive of the athlete's intention to participate in both years of the program. So this email or letter can be sent to myself, but we'll have some more information on that in the application process, which I'll touch on later. So please note that if you're not selected to the Canada Summer Games bubble, if your coach does not release you to play for the team next year, or if you just simply do not wish to participate in the Canada Summer Games, but you're a 17 and 18U athlete, this brings me to my next training opportunity, which is the Team Ontario Black Bubble. So the Team Ontario Black Bubble will be held at Niagara College from July 8th to 18th. This program is for 17 and 18U athletes to help prepare them for their upcoming season in the fall by providing a high quality training environment for them to develop in. There will be 30 athletes per gender selected to this bubble, and we're going to keep the cost below $2,000 for athletes for 10 full days of training and a safe stay at Niagara College in the bubble. So athletes will be able to apply for both of those bubbles. So should they not be selected to the Canada Summer Games group, they'll be automatically considered for the Team Ontario Black program. And then in the third bubble, which is the one on the left there, that's the Team Ontario Red bubble. So this bubble will be held at Niagara College from July 20th to 30th. And this program is for 60 new athletes to help develop their skills by presenting concepts relative to higher levels of training. So there will be around 30 athletes per gender selected to this bubble. And again, similar to the Team Ontario Black program, the cost will be under $2,000 for athletes for a full 10 days of training and a safe stay in the Niagara College bubble. So as LP mentioned, our ability to run these bubbles will ultimately depend on the restrictions and regulations at the time of the camps this summer. We could have to update or cancel, hopefully not, our programs with little notice if regulations change. But this being said, we will obviously keep everyone in the community posted on program updates when we have them. So I think I hit everything there for the indoor programs. So we can move on to beach now. So I'll scroll down the page here to our beach information and I'll pass it on to Angie.
Hi, everybody. My update is pretty short. We're going to be running the Team Ontario full-time training group in Toronto. So selections or applications will come in for that. As you can see, 15 to 18 years of age, 12 athletes per gender, and running from June to August. Again, of course, we're all kind of depend on kind of if permits and things like that at the time. The program will include strength conditioning. We strength condition out of the Canadian Sport Institute of Ontario. It'll include nutrition and as well as mental performance training. So the intention is to run the FTG program as we have in previous years. That's the main thing that Beach will be doing right now that we're talking about today.
Awesome. Okay. LP, did you want to talk about this or do you want me to go to the application?
Yeah, sure. I'll mention that real quick before you get into the application. So this summer we're bringing back the Team Ontario Academy. This is something that we did last summer when we had to cancel everything, and we hadn't, we had barely had time to kind of complete our identification. And but we knew that there were a lot of athletes who had lost the end of their season and wanted to stay connected with the Team Ontario pathway, and also just wanted to keep being involved in some sort of way with volleyball and work with other athletes and coaches. And so this program last year was offered to any athlete who wanted to be a part of it, with no selections. And this is going to be the case again this summer. And this program, so we'll run similar to last year with some support from coaches, with the sport, strength conditioning, mental performance, nutrition, all that sort of stuff. And all of the program will essentially be based on the Athlete Insights program, but it will be kind of a program built with coaches, where coaches are going to dive deeper into the content of the Athletes Insights program, and to support kind of to kind of like do some guided discovery, I guess, with the athletes instead of having them just go through it on their own. So there will be an opportunity for athletes to stay involved if they want to. And this is also for us potentially a way to adapt if we end up not being able to run in person again this summer. But we're pretty optimistic that we'll be able to run. So so now there's a bunch of things that we don't know yet and that we're going to clarify, and those are things around opportunities to train on the beach in various regions of the province, and also potentially some opportunities for athletes to train indoors in some regions. This is some stuff that we keep on looking at, and as information becomes available, we will release that. But keep an eye open for Team Academy, and also for these regional training opportunities. As like I said, as soon as we have some information, we'll put it out. But we really want to provide these opportunities. So we're confident there will be some. How it looks, where they are, what the timing is, those are still two details that we need to figure out. So yeah, that's the academy. Angie, anything?
I'll just answer a question about beach because I know I was really short there. The times are, again, typically June in the afternoons or after school, and then July, August is the mornings. We're looking at, I'm hesitant to say, we're looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. In previous years, it's Tuesday to Friday. But right now, just with the pandemic, making sure that coaches are still good to commit to those days. But that's the intention. And it's not just the Toronto centric. It's Toronto centric, but it's just based on facilities right now. If we can't get permits, then we'll likely try to move somewhere that maybe, somewhere else where we can train.
Awesome. Okay. So I will move on to the Team Ontario application process then. So at the top of this page, this big red button here, this will lead you to our Team Ontario application process. But before I walk you guys through that, I just want to let everyone know that this is the process that we'll be using to select athletes to our programs. We won't be hosting any on-court tryouts this year, so it'll be just solely based on this application process. So we have one form that athletes can fill out if they're applying to beach, indoor, or both disciplines. It's all just on one form, which is really easy for everyone to find. It's this big red button here. So on this page here, we have some more information on what actually the form entails. So the form will be broken down into 4 sections: athlete information, physical testing information, an athlete introduction video, and a athlete movement video. So on this main page here, there is a detailed breakdown of each of these different sections. For example, if you were to click on each of these, it goes into detail on what exactly the questions are. So you can prepare before you go to that main form that I'll show you now to submit your application. I'll just move my thing. Okay. So to quickly break down the form here for everybody, this is our application form. This first section, as I mentioned, is athlete information. It's pretty straightforward, just asking some basic questions of the athletes and about the Insights program. And then moving on to our physical testing information section, we're asking that athletes submit their height, standing reach, and spike touch, all in centimeters. We've provided detailed descriptions on how to gather this information, as we definitely know that not everyone has access to physical testing equipment in their homes. So we've come up with some solutions to make this process a little bit easier for everybody. And we definitely understand that it may be difficult to accurately measure these results, but all selected athletes will be retested when they enter, their bubbles. Moving on to the video submission section, we have an introduction video. This section is really trying to get to know the athletes better. We've included different pieces of content that we want the athletes to speak on and include in their 2-minute video here. Athletes can use whatever form of technology they wish to create their video, whether that's a phone, laptop, etc. All we ask is that it's submitted through a YouTube link, which they can submit in the box below here. And then the last video that we are asking to athletes to include is a movement video. So court time has obviously been limited this year, with some athletes not having gone on court at all. So to make this process fair to everyone, we ask that athletes submit a movement video for coaches to observe. So we do have a routine that we would like athletes to follow, which we've included here, and then also on that main page that I mentioned in Athlete Insights. But this breaks down the different movements that we'd like the athletes to see. And we even have a demo that the athletes can watch to kind of gain a better understanding of what that would look like. So we'll go back here. So yeah, that information can be found again on that Athlete Insights page or by clicking on the link there. And then again, we ask that this video is submitted via a YouTube link, which would be submitted at the bottom here. And then at the bottom here, you see a section called Program Selection, and this will become populated when the athletes answer everything above it in the form. And this will include information on which discipline the athlete would like to apply to and which bubble they would like to be a part of. And I should mention that applications are due on April 30th, 2021, at which point Team Ontario coaches will begin to look through the applications to make their selections for the bubbles. Okay. LP, did I miss anything for the applications, or Angie?
Oh, I think you did a great job, Lauren.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that's all of the information that I have to present. Is there anything else to add there, LP?
Nothing to add at this point. There's a few questions that I think we can answer. So I suggest we just go to those.
I just noticed Kelvin has asked not a bubble. I'm assuming that was about beach, just based on the time. And also I didn't say the word bubble. So no, it isn't a bubble. And hence the low numbers. I know we put 12 right now, but the standard right now is 10 outdoors, and depending on how it moves. So it won't be a bubble, but just a controlled setting.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, it's going to be something that we need to adjust to if we get there, and we can only train with 8 athletes, and it'll be 8 athletes, and if we can train with 12, we'll have 12. The location may also change if like Toronto isn't a viable option at that point. So we'll adapt, and if we need to change, obviously everybody will be notified. If for some reason you wanting to commit to something and then things change last minute and now the location has changed and you can't commit anymore, whatever, we'll just work with you guys, and we'll just roll with the punches as they come. And we'll do it as good as we can, like we've done all year. So a couple questions, Lauren. This is a question perhaps that we can address now. Many people who are here tonight were on our call last week and registered for the Athlete Insights program. Some people still have not received their login information. So can you just explain maybe why that would be the case?
For sure. So as of 3 p.m. today, if you had registered for the Athlete Insights program, you should have received an email to the email address that's associated to the athlete's MRS account. So I've had some athletes reach out to me asking why they haven't received an email into their inbox. That's because it is most likely in your parent or guardian's email inbox. So make sure you check with them first. And then if you still haven't received it, you can reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to provide you the link. And then tomorrow I will send the invites for everybody else who was past a 3 p.m. Registration.
Fantastic. Okay, so I had a question around the age groups for the indoor bubbles, and I guess at the beach as well, for FTG. So is the age range based on what age group they are in now?
For indoor, yes, it would have been the age category that you would have been competing in this year.
Right. So 16, if you're Team Red for 16U athletes. Those are the athletes who are 16U today. Awesome. There was a question that was sent to me privately in the chat that I answered to, but I want to bring it up for everybody. For those of you who are considering trying out for the Canada Games group, the question was, is there a tryout next year? And Lauren mentioned it, but maybe it kind of like flew under the radar for some people. But there will be a tryout next year for the final Canada Games group. So it's not because you're selected this year that you for sure make it next year, or that you're not selected this year, you for sure don't make it next year. There will be a tryout next spring for the 2022 Canada Summer Games. The idea, and what Lauren explained, is that ideally we want to train a group of athletes this year that will, who will all be available to be selected next year. And that if they are selected next year, then they can participate in the Canada Games, as we're trying to develop this 2-year program. Okay. A question about height. It's measured without shoes on. Yes, court volleyball is played with shoes on. But
that's a standard so that you can actually
yes.
compare in general.
And beach isn't played with shoes on, and it's the same application form for everybody. So let's just keep it simple. Is Tall Maples running? Can answer that one. No, Tall Maples is not running. We had to make some decisions in terms of where to put our priorities and where to focus our attention. It's going to be a lot of work to make these 3 bubbles plus FTG work all summer with our staff. So, and we want to make sure that we do it well and that we do it safely. We know that we can do it and we can make it happen safely, but we want to do that. We need to have all our focus on these bubbles. And then at this point in time, thinking about running more would just be increasing our chances of slipping away here or something, and even like not having enough staff. Because the one thing that you need to understand is right now the way we're looking at all of this is no one is a repeat person through a bubble, where in the past Lauren would be everywhere or I would go to every single camp at some point for a few days. The way we're doing this year is that if you're in one bubble, then you're not in any other. So, and then you're there for the entire time. So this obviously means that we have different restrictions to work with. Okay, this is a really interesting question. Is there a deadline for Athlete Insight? I'm wondering if the question is a deadline to register, for which I would refer to Lauren, or a deadline to complete it. And those are 2 different questions. So let's answer both of them. Lauren, deadline to register?
The deadline to register for the TMO application?
For Athlete Insights. April 30th?
Oh, yes, April 30th. Sorry, I misunderstood your question. Wow, yes, the deadline to register is April 30th. Sorry about that.
Sounds good. Now, the deadline for completing it, there is none. So there's you don't need to complete the program to apply for Team Ontario. You need to be registered in it and be doing some of it. You will be going through some of those sessions with the Team Ontario program if you make it. The idea of signing up for it is that you need it to then go through the program itself. And so that's why we want athletes to get through it. It's a long program, right? Like if you're signed up for everything, there's over 170 sessions and lessons in this program. So it's not something that we would expect anyone to complete in a couple of weeks or anything. So it's something that's there for you that you can work with for, in the long run. So no deadline on completing it. Okay, where do athletes attach a permission letter from post-secondary coaches?
So those athletes that are interested in the Canada Summer Games program, there's no spot in the application to submit the letter. You will just be emailing myself with either a copy of the written letter, so like a picture or PDF copy, or screenshot of the email that they send to you, giving you acknowledging that you are able to go and participate. Either one of those options will do. I'll provide my email in the chat, and it's already on the application form to remind athletes as well.
When will the selections be made by? And will everyone get a response, or just the ones who are selected?
Great question. The plan, I believe, is to have the selections done by the middle of May. Correct me if I'm wrong, LP. And we'll be letting athletes know shortly after that process, so we can get everybody ready to go for the summer programs. In terms of how exactly we communicate the information, I think we're still deciding how to distribute that.
Yeah, we haven't decided how the information is going to go out, but it's going to go out to everybody. We'll make sure that everybody hears from us, for sure. Canada Games bubble, is it the same application process? Answer is yes. Right. Okay, can an athlete apply to more than one program? So if they're 16U, can they apply to all three?
Athletes can apply to more than one program. So they can apply to beach and indoor, but they'll only be allowed to select one program for the reason that LP mentioned before about crossing programs. We want to limit that cross. From the 17 to 16U gap, if you are a 16U athlete or younger, you are only eligible to apply for the Team Ontario Red program. And then we're leaving the Team Ontario Black Canada Summer Games programs for the 17 and 18U athletes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a very important clarification. Thanks, Lauren. So yeah, so if you're 16U, then technically you're not applying for Teamo Black or Teamo the Canada Games bubble. I'll just mention this quick, but this is a decision that we made. Like in the past years, we actually went away from sticking to age groups for programs because we wanted to be more consistent with long-term athlete development models and really looking after the skill level of athletes and their age, right? The thing is, this year, because of the situation, we want to maximize the number, I guess, the opportunities to train for the different groups. Everybody's been in the same position. The athletes who are currently 18 and even 17U have less opportunities in front of them to participate in some of those programs. And this is why we're making sure there's like a larger group of athletes, I guess, from this age group that gets a chance to be selected. And for 16U athletes, they have a chance to be selected for Teamo Red. And so that's the way we're approaching it this year, to give everyone a chance to train. I'll just go through a few of those quickly there, Lauren. There's no program for 14U and 15U athletes, although if you are 15U, technically there's nothing keeping you from applying to a Teamo Red. They'll just be very competitive, just put it that way. Who are the coaches for each program? The coaches, some of them are on your screen right now. Lauren, where can people find the full list of coaches?
For sure. Tomorrow on our teamontariovolleyball.org website, we'll be posting all of the information that was listed today, plus our list of awesome Team Ontario coaches that will be joining all the athletes in the bubbles there. But a lot of them are on this call, so you can give a wave if you want, but they're here.
Is there a cost to apply? There is no cost to apply, although you need to be part of the Athlete Insights program. So technically, there is a cost of the Insights program. Okay, answer this one. Is there possibility? So will there be a camp for beach players, which would be better for players that are not located in Toronto? Not at this point, except like I mentioned, we are working on some training opportunities in the regions, so outside of Toronto, and that information will be communicated at a later time, and with all the information on how you can access them. So someone's asking, Corey, you're asking about an update on Quest for Gold. Just send me an email and then I'll send you some information on that. There's been some communication on our website. You can also find the article there. I just don't want to spend too much time on this call. Okay, I think we answered a bunch of these. Sorry, just reading all the messages. If you see, Angie, Lauren, if you have some questions you saw you want to answer, feel free to go.
I see one here. If an athlete is not chosen for summer games, will they be considered for Team Ontario Black? Yes, the Canada Summer Games coaches will make their selection first from that pool of athletes, and then the athletes who were not chosen will then be in the pool for the Team Ontario Black bubble selection.
So there's a very good question here. Is the selection positional? So, per position, hitters, setters, liberos, and if so, what is the selection ratio? I don't have this information right now. We do need, for running a decent training camp, a certain number of hitters, setters, middles, right sides, liberos. Although I will mention this now, technically, we do not need a specific number of liberos. So this has been a contentious issue in the past. Liberos can be left sides, they can be setters, they can be any other player. So usually, and the same could be said with like hitters and right sides. If someone applies as a right side, traditionally we could have seen them and say, oh, this player could be a good left side, and they're selected to be playing as a left side, for example, on one of our Team Ontario program. So although we are looking for a certain number of players kind of per position usually, so that there's a balance. It's really hard to say that we are going to select a specific number of people who apply for a specific position. Okay, so like I said, sometimes someone applies as a setter, but maybe they're selected as a libero, right? So it's more that we select players to fit specific roles to make sure that we have these players so that we can run a good camp. But it's hard to say that there will be a specific number of each position as you write it in your application form that will be selected. If we discuss that we have this information and it's available, we'll share it. But at this point, there's no set in stone ratio. Are we required to be vaccinated in order to participate? No, simply because kids are not being vaccinated right now and they won't be for a long time. So, well, hopefully not that long of a time, but it will, no, so that won't be a requirement. Although for the adults that will participate, that would not be a bad idea. If that changes, we'll let you know.
Another question here about registration for Insights. If you haven't received an email with the link yet, it's either coming if you just registered from 3 p.m. onwards, or it is in the email address that is associated with the MRS accounts inbox. And please check all of your inboxes, spam, promotional. Sometimes my emails end up there. So
Sorry, and there's a question here, which is a great question, Karen. Thanks for asking this. I think I may have misspoke. So question is, why are 15 players being allowed to apply for 16U for Team Red? Does the reasoning apply to not letting 16U apply to Team Black and Canada Games program apply here? So essentially, and this is where there may be some like gray areas, is because some athletes who are technically 15U, who so this year 15U would be 2006. If you're born in 2006, you're 15U this year, but you could be playing on a 16U team, right? If that's the case, you apply. So when you're going to fill out your application form, you're selecting the age group you would have played this year, right? So you would have played 16U this year, you click 16U, and then we'll select that way. So yeah, so technically if you would have played 15U this year on a 15U team, yeah, technically you're not allowed, you're not applying for Team Red. If you're playing 15 this year. So again, to repeat, like the athletes who are currently playing 15U, when we looked at it, you're going to have opportunities, hopefully many other years in the future, a few more years to actually apply and be part of a Team Ontario program. The older the athletes are, the less chances they have. There's been no volleyball for the past year and a half, and we want to give these athletes a chance to be part of this training opportunity. If you have any more questions about this, just email us and we'll make sure to clarify. Oh, I see more. So what about a 16U girl who play on an 18U team? Can they be considered for the black team in the summer games? In doubt, just apply. And then if you're not eligible, we just won't consider you and we'll let you know. Okay. So at the end of the day, I know this is kind of confusing, but if you're 16U, you're applying for Team Red. If you're 17U, 18U, you're applying for Team Black or Canada Games group. Yeah. And just so you know, like before you apply for the Canada Games group, like that's a very competitive group. Let's just put it that way. We've had a group of 30 athletes who trained as part of Team Elite this year, and we're selecting 24 for the Canada Games group. So it's going to be very competitive for anyone who wants to actually be selected over any of these athletes that have worked with us over the course of the year. So if you're 16U, you were not part of Team Ontario Black last year, you were not part of Team Ontario Elite this year, you can apply for Canada Games if you play on an 18U team, but let's be realistic. Okay. Uh, 15U players can still apply for beach training. That's correct. Yes. And the recording of this meeting will be posted online, where we post all of our town hall recordings. So on our OVA website at ontariovolleyball.org, it will be there. And 15U swimming games. Yes, that's right. So the athletes who are 15U this year were 14U last year. Ontario Summer Games got canceled last year, postponed to this year. And Who knows what happens with the summer games this year? I doubt they will run, but I don't think there's been any public announcement around that. So let's just see what happens. And will we know if there will be beach practices held in locations other than Toronto before applying? So
we're talking,
Yeah.
I think we'll, yes, let's just say yes. And we're working on that ASAP. Yeah.
Insights is just an online work at your own pace, or are there some live online portions? So correct, it's online work at your own pace. And through the Team Ontario programs this summer, whether that's Canada Games, Teamo Black, Teamo Red, FTG on the beach, or Team Ontario Academy, that's when the live portions, or I guess like live follow-up sessions and guided discovery and diving deeper into the content of it will be held. But the program itself is a standalone program. There's a lot of stuff. You can go back to our call from last week and watch it when we really dive into the content of it. There's a lot for the athletes to get just on their own. Lots of activities, lots of interactive activities, little challenges they get to do just to kind of increase their awareness about themselves and what they know, what they don't know, what they do, they don't do. So yeah, the live sessions are going to be a complement, but they're definitely not necessary. Is there costs associated with Athlete Insights program, Lauren? Can you, do you want to, I don't know if you still have it up, but you could almost show the Insights page.
I do actually have it. So here are the different registrations for Athlete Insights. Indoor only module, which is 39 plus tax. Beach only module, which is 39 plus tax. And then if you would like access to both beach and indoor modules, it is 59 plus tax here. And this can be found on the teamontario.mykajabi.com. This is where all the information on Athlete Insights is held and how athletes can register for the program here.
Lauren, I may have missed it in the chat box, but do you mind sharing that link and also the one for the application and the ones that you showed us earlier? Maybe share that in the chat.
Great idea.
Fantastic. So yeah, lots of questions. I guess again, we'll so if you apply to be part of Team Ontario, we'll have your contact information, and we'll obviously keep you updated on any changes to the plans, as we know that this may change your decisions to participate or not. So we'll do our best to share that information with you promptly. And yeah, so we'll be working with you guys. If there's any adjustments to be made, and we'll make it happen and make sure that we can get some athletes training this summer. Any questions from our coaches? I see a bunch of you guys here. Thanks for showing up tonight. It's good to see you. Just raise your hand. We can unmute you if you have a question. Larissa? Yes. Oh, you raised your hand though. I saw you do this. Are you saying hello? Okay, I see. An FAQ would be great based on these questions. That's a great point, Santa. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm sure we can put that together.
Sorry, LP, I'm just gonna say it one more time. I'm getting some messages privately about this. Athletes that register for Canada Summer Games in the application form, they are still eligible to be considered for Team Ontario Black. You can apply to both programs on the application form. if for whatever reason you miss putting the Team Ontario Black option as well, if you're not selected to Canada Summer Games, you will be therefore considered for Team Ontario Black. It's the same pool of athletes.
It would be nice if you indicated both, if you're interested in both, just because this way we don't end up in a situation where we're in the middle of May, we've selected athletes for Canada Games, and now we assume that you're going to be wanting to participate in Team O Black, but you didn't check that box. So then we send you an invite, but you decline, and now we have to go through the whole waiting list process, which is kind of painful. So if you want to be considered for Team O Black, if you don't make Canada Games, check the box. Okay, make it simple. Don't think like, oh, because I checked it, then maybe like they select me for Team O Black and not for Canada Games. Like, it's not how it happens. If you're, if you're selected for Canada Games, you be there. And then if not, and you've checked Team O Black, you're the next person on the list, then we invite you. We'll make everyone's life more simple. Cool. So we're approaching the hour here. This was recorded. Obviously, you feel free to connect with Lauren, myself, or Angie for all the information. Any questions you have, we're here for that. We're really, 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 really committed to having some training with some athletes and coaches this summer in person. So yes, we'll do everything we can, including answering as many questions as you have. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for the thank yous. Appreciate you being here tonight. You have a great rest of the evening, and we'll see you on the court. Hopefully. Have a good week. Stay safe.